welcomes to Mission Debrief. We've played every mission of the mainline Halo video games, and now we're playing every mission from the rest of the games in the franchise in chronological order. Each episode will be discussing our experiences and sprinkling in a little lore along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. We'll be playing the cleansing mission from Halo Wars on the next episode.
Ooh.
If you like what you hear, and want to support the show, visit Podcast Evolved on Patreon. This episode, we're debriefing the Shield World mission from Halo Wars. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And Krysta Brown.
Hello, I am Krysta, aka the perfect woman.
In more ways than one.
More ways than one. It's true.
Last mission was the Flood. As the hunt for Anders continued, Red Team found themselves surrounded amidst a flood-infested landscape and had to be rescued before being consumed. Forge deployed forces from the recently established firebase to save the Spartan 2s, but a new threat was discovered. A proto-grave mine was nearby and had to be dealt with before tracking Anders further. Following a coordinated attack on 5 flood colonies, the grotesque biomass was eliminated and the Spirit of Fire was able to extend the search for their scientist. Now in Shield World, Arbiter and Regret begin to interrogate Professor Anders, but are interrupted by a report that the Spirit of Fire is nearing their location inside the Shield World. Ripa Morami orders the Covenant to intercept the massive UNSC ship as it's getting pulled below the surface. Meanwhile, Cutter, Forge, and Serena scramble to rescue what remains of the UNSC ground forces. Date of the game, we're still in February 23rd. It's been a long day for these guys. Long day. February 23rd, 2531. David, hit me with this cutscene.
This cutscene's pretty dope. I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
It starts very simply with Anders obviously being captured with the Prophet and the Arbiter. And there's a weird piece of dialogue here, and I say it's just weird because they're all speaking English and they all understand each other perfectly fine, which is nice and convenient. So essentially, the Prophet is just, obviously this might be the first human he's actually seen up close. He's just kind of commenting how frail and weak they look. He's kind of just gloating a little bit, and fair play to Anders. She's got some spine. Do you know what I mean? She's got some spunk. She's giving them some shit. And the Arbiter finds this kind of amusing. Then like a gold elite comes up to the Arbiter and says like, the human ship is here, it's following us, and he just beats the shit out of this guy for like no reason. Demands that the Prophet is taken back to High Charity and that we destroy the human ship immediately. And then the scene just kind of ends. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Like what happened to don't shoot the messenger? Like what the hell?
Yeah,
elites do not like that.
Apparently not.
Yeah, well. I remember reading the profile for this guy. So this guy is supposed to be like a real hothead anyway, and that's how he was quote unquote disgraced into the position of the Arbiter. So so you can see how he treats his subordinates anyway in the other cutscenes. You're not supposed to like him, essentially, you know. So you go from there to the great shot of the Spirit of Fire over this kind of lake, over this kind of water, kind of ocean area. It looks really nice and serene. Serena is scanning because she's like, this is where the signal is coming from for Anders, so they're like, okay, we're looking for her. And then all of a sudden she picks up the reading and she's like, oh, we're not gonna light this. And the sea just kind of opens and like you see the sentinels come out and we're like, we know what the hell's going on. Obviously the Spirit of Fire doesn't know. And there's a great shot of just the Spirit of Fire being pulled under the water as the water kind of parts for it. All the sentinels are kind of buzzing around. Cutter is like, holy shit, put on the brakes, reverse, Serena, get everybody back on board. Serena's being pretty sassy, so he says, okay, we're calling all the squads so we can all die together. Aye, sir. And then this mission is essentially, you're on a timer, you're on an evac, get out. But there's a cool scene of just like, actually no, that happens later. But like that's pretty much it. The mission kind of begins and you're given your objective.
So the Spirit of Fire is being pulled into the Shield World. Meanwhile, we need to go command the rescue of all the forces that are still out there. Get them onto the Spirit of Fire before it's too far, and the door is shut again, right? I was trying to think about this because the Shield World in 2009, when this was released, wasn't really super well known, I don't think. I mean, there was probably discussion about shield worlds and their existence based off of Halo 3. But other than that, like the common Halo fan, and I remember playing this, I don't think I played it like in 2009. It was probably a couple years later, but like I didn't know what was going on when I played this originally. It wasn't until I've, become a lot deeper into the lore that this all kind of makes sense. Do you guys remember anything of that nature? Any of those conversations that were happening when you played this first time? Were you confused as well? Krysta, what's your take on this?
I mean, you kind
this
of
concept?
learn about shield worlds a little bit in Ghosts of Onyx. I know.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah,
I
it was
played.
the books that really taught you more about them.
Yeah,
than the
Right.
games did.
That's a good point.
I'm pretty sure I played Halo Wars before Halo 4 came out, and Halo 4 really teaches you about shield worlds very effectively.
Yes.
That's kind of the one that's like, okay, I kind of get it a little more now, because like Ghost of Onyx is more of a Dyson sphere than a shield world, but I remember first playing this game and wondering how canonically correct it is. So I didn't quite take all the lore to heart on my first playthrough, and of course once I got more deep into the lore and realized, oh yes, this is all completely canon, don't take anything with a grain of salt, which is what I was doing. So I kind of went back and played it again, and once Halo 4 comes out, you kind of immediately understand this is a shield world, this is what it is, this is why it was built, this is what's happening. So it makes a little more sense. And of course, like, stuff like the like Smoke and Shadow and stuff puts even more of a light on this whole process.
I think part of the confusion for me, and we probably touched on this at some point, but the Flood have been on the surface of this thing. So like in Halo 4, it didn't seem like the outer shell of of Requiem was habitable, like you could live on that, right? Whereas this one, either it had that, like that was part of this specific shield world that had been terraformed, or somehow just like the Flood just globbed onto it and were somehow able to survive on the surface. I'm not sure if that's clear anywhere, if they've talked about this shield world has a name.
I think it's probably mostly just Flood, because you don't really see like a normal tree once you're on the shield world. It's like all Flood.
Yeah, that's true. It's like a biomass.
And it's probably like the Flood landed on this planet. They probably know that there are ships inside. Because, I mean, one of the Flood's prime directives is 1, make a grave mind, 2, become spacefaring. So they probably knew there was ships in there and they're trying to get in, but Forerunner defenses, this is a planet literally made just to keep Flood out.
Right. So the name of this thing is called Etrin Harborage, and it does have, and I didn't do enough research to be able to speak much on it. We'll probably cover off on it towards the end of the series. Maybe get some more details to share with you guys. Because it looks like a decent write-up in Halopedia that we can cover off on.
And this game doesn't really teach you much about the shield world itself.
No, just glazes over it. There might be some pieces in the timeline, but we found those to be pretty simple for the most part, so I probably can't provide too much detail.
It's mostly just like, this is a shield world, there's Forerunner stuff in it, the next stuff happens, and then it just doesn't matter anymore after this. So
yeah, and I think originally when I played it too is like I almost thought that it brought you just like a different area of the world, and I know they've talked about shield world, but I guess I didn't understand the concept completely when I played it originally. But it's like it felt like, oh, it's pulling me inside this shield world or this world, and then maybe I'm like the ship is like popping out in a different place, like a different biome. But no, this like the entire outer shell of this thing is covered with Flood. We are going inside of it now.
And also another confusing thing about this game in general is you go to like 4 different planets.
Right.
It gets kind of like, especially on an initial playthrough, it gets kind of confusing to be like, where am I now? Did we go somewhere different? Is this just another place on the same planet, or is it somewhere completely different? As you gain more knowledge in Halo and stuff, you learn that no, there are just 3 different planets that you actually go to, but on an initial playthrough, it's like, where am I again?
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's a lot for a Halo game, to like bounce around on as many planets as this game does.
Yes.
So just glancing, and we'll get into it more, I think, in one of the future episodes, but maybe we'll cover off on when we, next mission or two. But it says in Talopedia that the inside is a miniature Dyson sphere.
Oh.
Inside of this thing. So it is big. It's huge. But yeah, we'll cover off on that down the road.
Well, presumably it's still planet-sized, because when the Spirit of Fire got to the planet, they thought it was just a planet. They didn't comment on the size of this planet is the size of a solar system kind of shit. So whatever it is, it's got to be relative to like a realistically sized planet that they see.
And I don't think they ever, when they're going into the shield world, I don't think they ever go through like a slip space portal or something like that. That if it was a Dyson sphere outside of the solar system, they would be like in Onyx. They go through like a slip space portal to get to the actual Dyson sphere.
Yeah, you're actually outside of normal space.
Right. Very cool. So we'll dig into that a little bit more for you guys. I'm sure, feel free to comment and send us notes if you have any insight on it as well. Just the little cutscene, the gameplay cutscene that we have is we need the main objective is to save 3 different squads of Marines, and including Red Team. Red Team got captured again. Like we have to keep saving.
I know they're like Princess Peaches. It's like Captain Keys all over it again. It's like you guys are Spartans.
Exactly.
Captain Keys was just a dude.
Right. These guys are badass, but they keep getting stuck. The main objective, so we have 2 main objectives here. The one is to clear evacuation flight paths, and that's meaning, so for the 3 different groups of Marines, so the Pelican can go pick them up, and we need to clear the flood that are between our firebase and them. The second is get Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie platoon, so those are the 3, back to the landing zone. So first we need to clear the flight path and then get them back to where they can get picked up and sent back to the Spirit of Fire. Optional objectives are place gremlins on the pylons, and as they explained during the gameplay, there's pylons that are essentially that's what's pulling the Spirit of Fire inside of the planet, are those pylons. So if you take those out with your gremlins, which we'll cover off in a little bit, that gives you more time to do that. So the timer score, or the running count, will increase once you take those out. The second optional objective is kill 350 flood swarms, everybody's favorite. They're, what would you call them again, Krysta? Like, skin pelicans.
They're like inside-out seagulls, yeah.
That's so nasty.
I mean, but that's what they look like, though.
Uh-huh. Part time is 20 minutes to 32 minutes, so plenty of time. I feel like I used a good chunk of time. I needed to turtle quite a bit before I felt comfortable taking on those the Covenant, or the flood that are in between the firebase and our Marines. Scoring goals, so the gold is 55,000, so a lot of points to be had here. 55,000 to get gold. Silver is 40 to 55. Bronze is 20 to 40. Tin is 0 to 20. The theoretical best score, and we checked recently, so the Prima Guide had it at 64,000, and that is actually incorrect, because there must be, and we need to dig into, maybe there's a patch, or the Prima Guide was written for the original version, and since the definitive version has been released, so like the high score for gold is still the same, but the actual theoretical best score is 72,000. So there was 500 objective points that weren't considered in the original Prima score, is what it comes down to. So I got 43,400. I wasn't able to get gold on this one from 3 tries. Yeah, I know. I need to go back and do it. So I'm very interested to see if either of you got gold. David, how did you do?
Spoilers, didn't get gold.
Okay. Did you beat my score? What'd you get?
No, a little bit less. I got 42,350.
Okay. Ooh, I edged you out. But that's good, though. Nice work. Nice work. Krysta, how's Miss Perfect doing?
Spoilers, how do you think we knew this Prima Guide was wrong? I got 7,200. Well, 72,000, excuse me.
72,000, yes. Perfect again. That's 3 in a row.
I know. I'm not going to do perfect next time,
nice.
So I decided to do perfect this time.
Very good. I'm interested to hear how you did it, because I felt like I did pretty good, but I also knew that I could have done better. I think I want to go back and get this gold here. All right, Krysta, talk to us about the toy box.
Oh, we got a lot of fun stuff. So we got our hero units. We got our Spartan 2s, Jerome, Alice, and Douglas, which you have to go save.
No forge this
no
time.
forge this time. Very strange.
Mm-hmm.
We do have an elephant that we get later on in the game. We have our fire base, station, then fortress, supply pad, reactor, turrets, warthogs, and gremlins.
Gremlin?
I know, gremlins kind of come on their own. They're just kind of the objective vehicle that you kind of send out and do things.
You can build them as well.
Oh, can you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can build them. So I built a couple, and then I didn't realize that as soon as you find a pylon, then Serena sends one down to you to go use it.
I did that too. I built one without actually needing to have one.
I just let Serena.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even know you could build them. I just thought Serena sent you down one.
Yeah, so gremlins are like little EMP vehicles. They're pretty interesting. I like the design.
They're super cool.
Mm-hmm. They're super cool. They are made to just kind of take things out. They I guess I didn't pay too much attention to how well they were doing against the flood. I think they hold their own decently.
As long as they're not taking like a super huge amount of damage, they'll get to where you want them to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know if if I would rather build one of these than a warthog, like a fully upgraded warthog. But they don't cost too terribly much either.
It's like 300 or something, I think.
Yeah. So more than a warthog, but then you can't upgrade it. Like it comes fully upgraded. Oh, I'm looking at it. It's 200 to build one, which isn't too bad. Yeah. But they have like that little EMP, and then they have like a little cannon on top that would take things out as well.
It's kind of almost like a gauze. It looks like a gauze because it's like a blue light that shoots out at things. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got a electromagnetic pulse cannon, which is mounted aboard the transport chassis, is what it says. Yeah, so it's a cool little vehicle.
All right, so in our barracks/elephant, you can make Marines and flamethrower Marines. Basic. Vehicle depot has Scorpion, Cobra, and Wolverine. Airpad has Hornet and Vultures. Does it have Vultures? I didn't even notice. Field Armory has reserves, reinforcements, turret upgrades, adrenaline, and the cryo bomb, which is very interesting.
Yeah, we gotta talk about that cryo bomb.
Why does it freeze your own units?
I know, that's frustrating. It has a big area of effect.
It works really well, but it freezes your own units. Why? It just didn't make any sense to me.
I threw it down when some of the thrashers, like there was hordes of thrashers coming to attack my base, and so I threw it down nearby, and then it like froze my entire base.
Yeah,
like I couldn't build anything. Damn it!
Oh, does it actually freeze the buildings and you can't use them?
Yeah, you can't use them.
Oh, boo!
The whole thing freezes.
Sucks.
Not the whole thing. Like it'll freeze whatever is within the effect, but yeah.
Those thrashers are brutal too. I just kind of like at one point I just let them do whatever they wanted. I'm like, whatever, fuck
it. There is a vulture in this as well. I went that route once or twice, and they're not that great. They're okay, but it's just there's so much. Well,
swarm. everything, and if you noticed, everything in this mission is anti-air. Like, it's literally just those launchers and swarms. So, I mean, air is not the way to go in this mission. Okay, so our Spirit of Fire abilities. We talked about the Cryo Bomb, and we have the Heal and Repair. Very nice. We love it. We have so many Flood units. We have Infection Forms, Thrasher Forms, Infected Marines, Flood Cloud, and Flood Carrier. Our air units are the Swarm and the Bomber form, which is a little new, and it looks weird, and it just kind of drops a bunch of Infection Forms and just sits there. It's very strange.
Yeah, it's weird. And, like, you see it right away when you start, and it just kind of creeps towards your base. Like, what the hell is this thing?
It's very ineffective. It makes a bunch of, like, infection forms, but other than that, it's like, okay, you gonna do anything else, buddy?
Is that all it drops? It just drops infection forms?
Sure.
I guess I didn't pay too close attention. I was just like, I need to kill that thing now. Get away.
Same.
Yeah, it's just weird looking and scary.
Yeah.
It's very ominous as it's coming towards your base.
It just like kind of sits there. It's like, hello? Sir? Mm-hmm. Sir, are you okay?
You're right.
What's going on?
Just poops on everything.
Yeah, pretty much. It's the pooping one. We have a bunch of stationary Flood. We have the Flood Launcher, Flood Den, Flood Nest, Flood and Egg Stock, Flood Tentacle, and Flood Colony. So we have a bunch of those dumb little things just all around the map at all times.
Yeah, lots and lots of Flood here. Keep ramping up. Difficulty modifications here. Easy, all enemies have 40% less health and inflict 40% less damage. UNSC platoons are 100% tougher.
Ooh.
Wow, they really help you out on easy. Heroic is flood population is greater. I didn't do a heroic run because I didn't get gold on this, so I didn't even try. I will go back and do a heroic run at some point. Legendary, all enemy units have 50% more health and inflict 50% more damage. UNSC platoons are 50% weaker. Flood population is greater. Yikes! Oof. This would be rough.
Big oof.
Yeah, rough on legendary. Okay, let's get into our individual walkthroughs. David, you are up first. How did you attack this one?
I did a kind of really brute force on this one. I was like, okay, tried to get perfect, didn't work. Again, like realizing that everything was anti-air, just like wiped out any of the idea that I had of like, okay, Krysta says hornets are great. Kill a crap ton of hornets, they get wiped out. Yeah. So easily in this game. I'm like, God damn, I hate you, Krysta.
I mean, I said normal, like most of the time it's good for flood, but...
Krysta, you suck, Krysta. So I don't have Krysta's cheat codes, so I used a bunch
up, down, left, right,
scorpions. Right. Yeah. Essentially, again, a whole bunch of scorpions, and the first thing I did was I did turtle for a while, so again, just kind of get as much resources as I can. There's not a whole lot around you. I did notice that there's a building beside the first pylon when it comes in, and you can garrison that, and it's a reactor. I'm like, excellent, give me that.
That's super helpful.
So, yeah, send over my dude straight away. So, it was pretty much building up my base, trying to get as much as I could in terms of I built and destroyed a whole bunch of buildings based on what I needed. So, I kept like one space free for a vehicle depot or a aerial or air pad or a field armory. I kind of just bounced around between those. Researching what I thought I needed and then getting rid of what I needed then just to build the vehicles. Got some scorpions, kind of pushed myself forward into the first area. There were so many goddamn seagulls. So the cryo was cool. I did actually start to buff up the cryo when I realized how good it was against them. So like just dropping cryo and then obviously freezing my own tanks, which sucks.
I didn't use it a lot because it cost 600 supplies or resources. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel like I wanted to give up that much. I wanted to do more on the vehicle standpoint. But so it freezes it for... Talk about like how long, like the effect and what it does.
It pretty much just freezes enemies. It kind of auto kills a certain amount of aerial units, which is really handy.
Oh, so it takes out the swarm?
Yeah, it takes out the swarm real good, okay. Which is what I used it for. And then I pretty much pushed forward with my tanks as much as I could, and then for the first area, and then that kind of freed it up really quick. And then you get a grizzly, which was like super handy. So I added that to my convoy, and I literally immediately, without doing anything else, went straight to the second area because it's not too far from where you are. So I just put all my tanks, rolled them all through. It's kind of a narrow area, so they kind of went all one at a time. I managed to do this without really kind of losing anybody, and then came from the opposite direction to free up that kind of laneway, the second laneway for the second pelican.
Then that you came kind of down around, that makes sense.
Exactly. So I can kind of down around, and then that gives you a elephant, which I didn't use. I kind of just left it there. I think I made a one unit from it to get the resources around it because tanks can't pick up resources, which is annoying.
Yeah, that is annoying. There's a bunch of them up there too. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I then from that area, then I was like, okay, I'll just keep going. I only managed to get 2 pylons out. I didn't really search the map that much. I had like 2 hornets left, and I kind of searched around. And I was like,
so you got your score with only getting 2 of the pylons.
Yeah. So I was just
you would have gotten gold if you would have just went and grabbed those, I bet. Yeah, so you did
possibly.
Pretty well.
Yeah, possibly. After that, then once I freed up the third one real quick, and then obviously the pelican crashes, so you have to go by on foot. And I was like, oh crap. So I literally grabbed all my units, put them back in my base. Now at the same time, my base just got immediately attacked by everything.
Yeah,
out of nowhere.
Those
so
thrashers,
I was like,
man.
Crap.
Those thrashers are
There's
crazy.
like 20 of them too.
Yeah. So I pretty much, and then I managed to get a vulture at this stage. So I had a vulture, it came into my base, and then it just defended my base while I brought all those units back. I think I lost a lot of units here trying to make my way back because I hadn't cleared the way back, if you know what I mean.
Oh,
so
sure.
I was just like, okay, I have to fight through, and because that's mostly troops that are in that final red team, most of those died on the way back or got taken over by flood. They're just too weak. And from that, the mission then just kind of ended before I really did too much else.
Yeah, because you bring everybody back, and then once you get the red team back to the Pelicans, then it just shuts down. It's like, okay, good enough. Let's go.
Pretty much.
Get the hell out of here.
Pretty much.
So I'm up next, but I'm interested. Krysta, did you go to the left and go towards that grizzly right away?
Yes.
Or did you? Is it? I mean, it would be interesting to see. I guess I didn't even think of it when I was doing my runs, but to go get red team first, like, would that make sense to go get them first?
Maybe. I mean, I always did, like, for all my runs, I did left, middle, center is what I did.
Yeah. Yeah, that just feels natural. That just feels like the way the game wants you to do it. I want to try again and see if I can go get red team first, because they would probably be helpful.
Yeah, you just put them in the tanks.
If you have them, if you have them for more of the mission. So yeah, pretty similar to David, although I went Hornets regardless, and probably that was probably part of my problem. I think I did one of my runs. I was like, okay, maybe I'm just going to try Wolverines and see how they do. That actually might have been my high score, is when I did a bunch of Wolverines to take out all the Thrashers and whatnot. But I kind of had a horde of them. I think I maybe did a couple Hornets as well. But yeah, I grabbed that reactor right away. That was super handy. I turtled for quite a while because I think my first run I just didn't do very well. I got beat up pretty good. So I was like, okay, I got to send a pretty decent force over there to get and to get a decent score. But then I wasn't smart enough to realize, oh yeah, Hornets probably aren't the best way to go. So most of my runs I still focused on Hornets, and they did okay. But I made sure that I had them fully upgraded. So I was upgrading them as much as possible as I went, and then sent them out to their deaths. And then some of the tanks and whatnot did decent. I didn't use any Marines outside of what they give you, because they just get converted pretty quickly. So focusing on them didn't really make a ton of sense to me. But there's a lot of the Thrashers are brutal.
Super brutal.
There's lots,
and it's that middle
that's
middle building that makes all those Thrashers.
Oh, is that what
Yeah,
happened?
yeah.
Okay, so if you pop that first, then it won't.
Well, it'll
create more. Is that what you're saying?
regenerate.
Oh,
It'll,
I'm not saying. I was thinking not Thrashers, but the launchers. I'm talking about. But there are a lot of Thrashers, but then the launchers.
Oh, they're everywhere
because they're all around each of the paths, and there's probably 4 or 5 or 6, right?
Some of them have
actually,
just a bunch, like a ridiculous amount of them, which is why Hornets are not good for this mission, because they almost 1-2 shot all the Hornets. It's crazy.
Yeah, they take big chunks out of them for sure. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give this one another run, and I'm probably gonna take Krysta's advice when she tells us how to win, and maybe try the cryo bomb some more. I think I did one. I definitely did one just to see what happened, but then that's when all the Thrashers were attacking my base towards the middle to end of the mission, and it just felt like, it was like, why would I do this? Because everybody's now frozen. But I guess the nice thing about this mission, and again, I'm learning as I'm talking through this, is that it shows you those areas, right? Like it highlights the 3 centers of the so you could just throw a cryo bomb, before you even get there, freeze everybody, and then go in and attack. So you don't have the fog on the full map, which would be helpful. I did get all the pylons though along the way, and I built a couple of gremlins because it took me a while to realize, oh yeah, I actually get one dropped off every time I find one. Serena will send you a gremlin to go take care of it. I think on the last, typically what I would do is grab the first one right away, and then I would kind of be up by red team by that 3rd spot, it kind of taking that same clockwise motion around the map, and then I would send the gremlin to that 2nd spot, and then by then I'd found the 3rd one, which is kind of off to the right of your base. There's actually 2 at the top, and I think I had missed one of them. You kind of drive by them both, and if you're not paying attention, you'll miss one of them. So there's 2 up there, and so I think my better score, I ended up having to send a gremlin up there. So I parked all of my Marines outside of the pickup zone so that I could send a gremlin up just to take out that last pylon. But those pylons are also defended by the launcher forms.
Yeah, I think it's the second top one, the one on the right side that has 2 of them. 2 launchers, and then the one at the bottom, not the one you start with, but the one on the other side. The other right one has 2 launchers as well.
Yep. The other thing I did is I did the elephant that you get in the second, with the second pickup. I did build 1 Marine just to go around and get the resources. I don't know if it helped or anything like that, but I just did that to to make myself feel better. I feel like I wasn't hurting too badly for resources. I wasn't waiting around that much, but any little edge you can get on supplies and resources, take it. Let's see here. The black box. Where is the black box?
It's right behind the middle unit that you save.
Oh, right. Yep. So, right by the second area. Yep. So grab the black box there. That's right by the elephant, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about?
It's like right behind
right up there. And then the skull. The skull is interesting because that pops when you get 300, you kill 350 swarm. And that's off to the right. There's like a little island. The only way you can get there, I believe, is with a hornet or a flying unit. So you have to go fly over there. And it's surrounded by a bunch of launchers and other floods. So you kind of have to go in, get it, and get out right away. But then you don't really have to worry about it after that. After you've played it once and gotten both of those two lovely collectibles. I'm trying to think. Looking at my notes for any other highlights. Yeah, I think I really do need to take more of a ground approach and use that cryo bomb for my next run, because the hornets were not doing it, but I stuck with it and maybe thought that if I was more efficient or something like that with them, getting them more upgraded, but no, they didn't do so hot for me. Krysta, how'd you do?
So I went pretty much all tanks.
So scorpions. So for some reason I don't want to rely on scorpions because I feel like they aren't effective at taking out a lot of enemies. But I guess they have the turret and the main cannon, right?
Yeah, they're great.
So,
and also they have the Y ability.
And the Y ability, yep. So to take out the launchers, probably.
Yeah. So what I did is I did about 3 Wolverines and then the rest tanks. Because the Wolverines pretty much just kill the swarm immediately and you don't have to worry about them at all. Plus...
Did you have to upgrade the Wolverines?
No, I didn't upgrade the Wolverines at all. And also it gets, the 350 flood swarms really, really fast. Like, it's pretty easy. So I start off the mission. I go reactor, supply pad, reactor, supply pad, supply pad. And then I send all the units you start with, I just send them right over to those 2 buildings beside your base. And I garrison the Flame Marines, and then everyone else just kind of, the 2 Hornets and the other guys just stay there for the rest of the mission. I just have them stay there because every once in a while, Swarm will come around or something like that. And so they just defend that area.
Just have them hang out by that reactor.
Yep. And so now you have 3 lightning bolts. So then you upgrade your fortress. You have 2 more pads, so you do another supply pad, a vehicle depot, and then you immediately upgrade the Scorpion tanks, and then you make 3 Wolverines, and then you just turn out Scorpion tanks until you hit max capacity.
Did you do a field armory too, or not?
Later in the mission, I do a field armory.
Okay.
And so once I have pretty much close to max population, and of course, make sure you do turrets all around, because you'll need them later. Make sure they're...
Did you upgrade your turrets too?
Yeah, anti-infantry, because I knew all of those guys are going to come down, so the anti-infantry one works best on those. I think. I mean, it worked for me. I'm not sure if they're considered a vehicle or what, but... Yeah,
they're huge. They're just massive hulks, and they take a lot of ammo, or a lot of damage, so... That would make sense to me. I think I did... Yeah, I think I did anti-infantry. But they said... At one point, there was like... I looked down, and there's like
20 of them.
5 or 6 of them just pounding.
Yeah, and they just start...
Well, after I take out a couple right away, but then they just keep coming.
They start destroying all your shit.
Exactly. Did you use the cryo bomb much?
Every once in a while, definitely when my base is starting to get, like, destroyed, I would cryo bomb it. And usually at that point, I had upgraded my capacity for more units, so I was turning out tanks. So I would literally just use the cryo bomb to pause them enough for some of the tanks to come out and start killing them.
Sure.
That makes sense. So once you have pretty much all your tanks and stuff, you go straight up the left lane and up to the Marines and just kill everything there.
So you turtled for a while then. I guess I thought you had sent people out, but you built a decent army before you even headed out.
Yeah, I think it was like maybe 7-8 minutes that I turtled you you get enough stuff that you can start sending stuff up, and of course you upgrade all your supply pads and shit like that. The normal thing. And so you go straight up that left lane. Once you clear out the left lane, you'll get the Gremlin. So you send the Gremlin right up the left lane and capture that. And then, instead of going like straight over to the middle lane, I kind of backtracked a little bit and then came at the middle lane like I was coming out from the base to just clear out all the flood there before getting the Marines. So I clear out that area, I go up top and get the middle lane Marines, and then I go straight over to the red team Marines, so the right lane Marines. And of course there is another pylon, so I send something up there to get rid of all that stuff and make sure it's clear for the gremlin when that comes down. I noticed that if you send a vehicle over to the pylon, sometimes it glitches out and takes the place of the gremlin. Like, it doesn't activate or anything, but then you just lose that vehicle for the rest of the thing, because it's just stuck there. Yeah, so I lost a Wolverine to that.
That's fucked up.
Stupid. But I lost a Wolverine to that glitch. Around this time is when I...
All this lane talk that you just mentioned is like, is this a MOBA? Is this a MOBA
kind
map?
of, yeah.
What's going
it's
on? It's
pretty much,
Halo
yeah.
MOBA?
Left lane, middle lane, right lane. I mean, I figured that's the easiest way to kind of describe it, as in lanes.
Well, it's right, yeah.
About this time, and of course I'm healing my units and making sure as many stuff survives as possible throughout all this. And so around this time is when I have just enough resources that I can just take out a supply pad and put down an armory and start upgrading the capacity. So I just do that, and then whatever, if I have just a bunch of extra supplies at this point, so I just kind of put stuff into whatever and start turning out more tanks.
You're more efficient at your base management than I am, because I think I built a field armory way sooner than I should have, but it's like, it's just taking up space, right?
Yeah.
Like, I have it built, ready to do things, but meanwhile it could be a supply pad, like you just described, getting you a lot more resources.
Yeah, I mean, like, depending on, like, if you're not trying to get, like, below par time and you're just kind of turtling, like, that's fine. You just kind of sit there and hang out. But when you're trying to get par time, it's best to fill up what you can and then just go out and do things. And once you start getting an excess amount of supplies, you can get rid of one of the supply pads and then put down the field armory.
Yep.
Because then you just have a lot of stuff to work with. Like, if you need to put down like a healing thing or something like that, you have the extra supplies to do it. You don't have to wait.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Of course, you should always put red team in your tanks. I put one of the red team members in the Grizzly, so it's super beefy Grizzly.
Ooh,
yeah,
love that. Yeah.
And then I go take out the flood in the right lane and do that. And usually I got the gremlin out and put it in that right lane, top right lane thingy. You gotta like path it away from the flood, because then it gets annoying. And then this is around when like all of those thrashers come out and start fucking up your shit. So I'm trying to make sure that there's some like tanks or something out there, and then once they get cleared out from there, I send that unit of tanks to the middle and try to take out as much as that as possible. And so at this point I had like maybe 3 or 4 minutes before I actually had to like get everyone to the front and finish the game. So then it's just mopping up. It's like, okay, let's go around and try to find some of the swarm. Let's put the last gremlin in its place, which is the bottom right hand of the map. And it's just kind of like hanging out until all the objectives are done, and then once they're done, you just take all your stuff to the base.
Nice. And so you can kind of, to your point, you can kind of take your time at that point, as long as you're under parse time and are doing well enough from a combat score standpoint to just kind of clean things up. So you don't have to rush as much as probably I'm making myself feel in this mission as well.
You have 20 minutes. So you got to get under par time, you have like what, 19 and a half minutes realistically to do stuff. And if you're turtling for 10 minutes and you have a good army built out, you get through the flood pretty quickly.
Yeah, I would imagine veterancy helps a lot too, getting those extra stars.
Yeah, definitely.
The more that survive throughout. Very nice, Krysta. Anything else to touch on before we do some trivia?
Nope, that's pretty much it. I do not get
72,000.
I definitely don't get that second reactor though, like the other one that you can garrison. I just completely don't care about that.
Oh yeah, did you only have 3 lightning bolts the whole time?
Eventually, at one point I did upgrade one of my reactors and fully upgraded the tank when I had excess. So I was like, okay, whatever, let's just upgrade the tanks so that their things are more powerful or whatever.
Sure. Nice. Okay, cool. What's on the trivia side, David?
Alright, guys, there's very little there. There is just name at the beginning of the cutscene is Open Sesame Part 2. That is just pretty much with reference to the fact that John Ford already pretty much said it at the start. When the relic was opening on Harvest. Then it's also the first of 2 levels in which Forge is not in the game. There you go. It's kind of weird. So the first one. Well, this is the first one. There's another one coming, but I won't spoil it. But that's pretty much it. Nothing really too else to it.
Very nice. I guess before we do Black Box, just an update on standings for our competition. Krysta now has 8. She has 8 of the missions under her belt, including the last 6 straight. Oh, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight. And then David, we still need to get you a win. I have 2, and David has 0. All right, let's do Black Box.
All right, so February 14th, 2531, Serena. Knowing that the crew may be on a one-way trip, manufactures and delivers fake emails from family members to crews celebrating Valentine's Day. She uses previous correspondence as a basis for the letters. No one ever suspects her of this deception. So Serena's sending love letters. So sweet.
That's funny.
How sweet of her.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a very sweet lady.
Was she just bored as hell? Like, what's going on there?
I don't know. That's weird. All right, just give her a little more depth for some reason, but yeah, that's cool. All right, let's do some community, and we'll get out of here. What's Facebook have to say? What's the question this week?
Facebook from the Colin Perkins, the admin, March 9th at 9 p.m. says, your family is surrounded by flood, but can't hold off the infection much longer. You have access to all the weapons and gear in the Halo universe. What do you grab for the rescue? Question for Mission Debrief, Halo Wars Shield World Mission. There are so many good answers here.
There are.
One of them being the answer, or for answer, which is an amazing weapon. It's my choice. It's so good. Explosive saw. Come on. David Elwood says the M90 shotgun or M279 saw. Both very correct answers. Matt says all the weapons you say. Why the Halo array, of course. So therefore he kills all the Flood and his family.
Right.
If you can't have him, I can't have him. No one can have him.
And I'm dead too.
No one gets it. Well, if he's on the Ark, technically no.
Oh, that's true.
Maybe. Ryan Jones says, I'll take the energy sword, shotgun, rocket launcher, saw, Promethean weapons, plenty of every grenade type.
How many pockets do you have?
Spanker Prime. And the answer is, a lot. I suppose, Master Chief can only hold 2
he's
weapons,
got Doom
so,
Guy level of pockets.
Right, exactly.
Patrick says the Spanker Prime and the answer. Miles says VX nerve gas, Agent Orange in a hazmat suit, Pelican to wade in as the chemicals do all the work. Logan says a flamethrower and Halo 5 splinter grenades to set up kill zones. I don't know, splinter grenades are there good against the Flood?
We've never used them against the Flood. Yeah,
I wonder. Brian says Mjolnir Mark 5 armor B and armor lock, and then he laughs.
I think he would kill himself if he just tried on a Mjolnir. Right?
Yeah,
we already know that he would kill himself.
And then he seems to have edited all the Spartan augmentations, mostly just for Spartan 3 and 4, since I'd rather not risk getting the 1s for 2s because I might die. Dylan says, gotta go flamethrower on this one. Can't infect everything if everything is on fire. Lance says the prototype suit from Halo Legends or the Halo 2 ODST armor and the M90 shotgun most likely. I'll take an ODST armor and shotgun. Manny says Hundiger in your Dressel. If I fail, at least we go in humans. This is the crazy ass suit I think from Halo Legends that kind of self-destructs at the end of it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I can't remember the name of that story is, but it's cool. Ben says Cortana and a shotgun. Lucas says obviously Mjolnir and a 90 shotgun. Probably flamethrower 2 is like a single tap of the trigger to kill most Flood. Chris says flamethrower not only to destroy the little poppers but keeps human eyes from coming back. Chris says the flame warthog from Halo Wars 2. Oh yeah. And Chip's double riding shotgun with a spanker. What a combo.
Okay.
Finally, we have a Storm Molodano has M90 shotgun and the Magnum pistol. a Grizzle tank, and Nathan Fillion suit up as an ODST, Sergeant Ford, Sergeant Johnson, Private Jenkins as my support squad. He's going all out.
Yeah. Gotta save Storm's family. Let's go!
Yeah, go.
I like it.
That's pretty cool.
Very nice. Thanks, Facebook. Discord. How'd you do?
All right. Same question. Halo Shitpost says it looks like you answered your own question in that image. It's the image from the Maw with the shotgun and all the flood coming out of one of the tunnels. Right. So, Halo 1 shotgun. Dizzy Bumper says armor lock. Matt says the Halo Ray and arc.
Wait, armor lock?
Armor lock. Yeah, he's just going to sit there in perpetual armor lock forever. Would armor lock save you from the Halo array? That's the real question.
Save your family. Right.
Halo ship posts. More CE shotgun. Blue Calx, according to Krysta, says the mother flippin' Halo 3 brute shot, of course. Or the Scorpion. Tank beats everything.
Okay.
Min says Mjolnir armor, an AI, a shotgun, and a DMR. Very nice. Dezudo says, does Discord count as Halo EU? In which case, the sock under Snark's bed would finish them off. Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
Min says, I'm pretty sure that would start an outbreak. Let's see. Oh, Ian asked if the armor lock works against the Halo array. Dizzy Bumper says, just do armor lock, I'm telling you. Wolf says if is friendly fire on, the brute mauler is friendly. Then the brute mauler is friendly fire off. An endless supply of napalm grenades. Perfect. Halo Jedi Spartan says Halo Combat Evolved shotgun, greatest anti-flood weapon since the Halo array.
It is very good.
Dezito says maybe just brute shot. Hector Elite says just cough on them, Corona would do the rest.
Oh boy.
Shadow Voni says I want the assault rifle from Halo Cursed Edition, 200 round magazine, and if I get to start over run, I just hold the trigger down and the gun explodes and ends it all. Perfect. Axif said I would grab the gravity hammer and ban the sheets out of those fuckers.
Nice.
So he's gonna bring the ban hammer down.
That would get exhausting.
Barlett King says I would just put my family in a cryptum and wait 10,000 years.
You gotta get to the
cryptum. You're gonna either find more flood at the end of that or less flood at the end of that.
That's a good point. Mm-hmm.
And that's about it. That's what we got, boys.
Very nice. Thank you for your comments and thoughts as always. I think we are done. We have a little more flood to come.
Oh no!
Yeah.
You can do it, Krysta.
It's been a lot of flood here in the middle of this game.
Yeah.
Lots and lots.
Standard Halo game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This was after, so again, release order. We had just defeated the flood in Halo 3. And now we have to deal with them again in Halo Wars.
Always. There's always more. And then you don't see him at all in ODST. It's like, wow, what? Right. A Halo game without the flood? Does that even exist?
Yeah, and we never saw them.
And we never saw them again.
Mm-hmm. All right, that'll do it for the debriefing of the Shield World mission from Halo Wars. On the next episode, we'll be covering cleansing. Send us your thoughts at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. You can also support the show by visiting Podcast Evolved on Patreon. Until next time, evolve!
Evolve!